Welcome to Sports, Wheels, and Reels with Jeff Miller and Austin Horton. One show, two guys, three topics, unlimited possibilities. Presented by Mark Miller Subaru. Engage with us on social media or email us at podcast@mmsubaru.com. And now, welcome your hosts, Jeff Miller and Austin Horton.
Episode 16 of Sports, Wheels, and Reels coming up in just a moment. He's Jeff. I'm Austin. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going? Good show today.
Excited, very excited. I did get in trouble today.
You did?
I'll tell you why.
All right, we'll find out soon.
In a moment. I've broken rules today. I feel like I'm back at BYU for a semester. I will tell you about that.
Back?
Yeah, I went to BYU for a minute.
Did you really? I did not know that.
Yeah, breaking news.
Wow, Austin's a cougar.
I got kicked out.
Well, that sounds about right.
You can Google. Did
you spell Dr. Pepper all over somebody or something?
Close. That did happen while I lived in Utah County. Maybe the fifth most powerful person in the world at the time. All right, we'll tell you about that, or we won't, coming up today on today's show. Out of curiosity, I had a jazz poll out on Twitter earlier this week, had incredible results, I thought. So we'll get to your responses to that. The NBA playoffs are rolling along. College football drama between a few children that happen to run some football programs. Coming up in Wheels, great news for those who are using or want to use public transportation. Mm-hmm. Those who want more electric vehicles, we'll get to that as well. And a new movie, a blast from my childhood past.
Absolutely.
Getting a remake on Disney+. It's all up next on episode 16 of Sports, Wheels, and Reels.
I'm Spencer Kofed, and my Subaru is Extreme Adventure. Outback's really great for my lifestyle. It has just enough space for all my gear, but it's not crazy big of a footprint. If any of my friends were looking to buy a Subaru, I'd recommend Mark Miller Subaru, so you never feel like they're hiding stuff from you. Whether it's skiing, skydiving, mountain bikes, surfing, my Subaru gets me out on my adventures. Subaru is a brand I trust, and Mark Miller Subaru is the Utah retailer that I love.
Sports, Jeff.
Sports! Should we talk about the Jazz?
I was going to say, when
do we stop talking about the Jazz? We just keep doing it until something happens.
Hence, that's why we've got this same picture.
Same picture right here. This picture's just going to be there forever until something happens.
So make it happen. If you don't like it, do something about it. All right, I did send out a poll question.
Here's the poll. So it's either Donovan and Rudy are A, flat out not as good as advertised, or you could say not as good as the teams remaining, or they're allowing childish differences to keep them from achieving greatness. I would have put B. I think I did, actually. I did.
Did you answer?
I did participate. 1,145 votes.
No big deal. In 24 hours.
You're big time.
Well, no, it's these names right here.
Okay. You spread it out. But that's a good spread. 57% think it's B, 42% A. What would you have put?
A lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
I was going to say, what's your call?
I think B. At some point, B causes A to be true, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you are allowing, as I said, childish differences to keep you from being as good as you're supposed to be, then at some point you aren't as good as you're supposed to be.
Totally. And I still think if you put the right team around those two guys, they're a championship team. I still think that's there, if they can get along, which is a big if at this point.
So I thought it would be a landslide B.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, and most of my following is Jazz fans. I mean, I don't have a lot of random national people following.
There are not that many people in NBA history that have put up what Donovan's done in his first 5 years in the league. There just aren't that many people.
And pick a category.
Yeah, really. In any category. Assists, rebounds, points, three-pointers made.
And if you took out this year's postseason, what he had done in the
point season, he'd be incredible too, right? Yeah. And same with Rudy. The stuff that Rudy's done is incredible as well. So more advanced stats on that side.
Yeah, a little analytical.
A lot of screen assists.
Yes. Yeah. But that stuff does matter and does add up. It
does matter. You put those two guys together, you can put a good team of shooters, like what Dallas has around it, some big wing defenders that can hit three-pointers. They're a pretty nasty team.
Yeah.
Right? If you got Finney-Smith, Bullock, you put those guys with them?
Well, even like a Dinwiddie. He's so long.
Oh, totally. Just need long defenders for the perimeter.
Okay, so then let me ask you this, Jeff, because I'm glad you went there, because here's what I think the real X's and O's makeup problem is on the Utah Jazz roster. It's that both Donovan and Mike Conley are 6 foot.
That's the problem.
You
can have one 6-footer.
Yeah.
You can't have two.
Yeah.
You just can't have 2 of your 3 best players on the court being under 6 feet tall or under 6'1". So that probably the fix, if you want to keep both of them, is you got to probably move Conley.
If you want to keep both Rudy and Donovan,
And Donovan goes straight to full-time point guard, and you get a bigger 2 guard to go next to him, a Dinwiddie.
Or do you move Bogey to the 2?
Although his defense in a couple of those games, but the problem is
Can he do that all year?
I don't know if it's sustainable. I mean, that one home game against Dallas, he played as hard as I think I've ever seen an NBA player play.
I was worried about him.
I thought he was going to die. Like he was playing so hard, and that's not sustainable. That is not sustainable for 82 games in the playoffs. Like maybe 1 or 2 playoff games here and there, but
he was diving for passes.
Yeah, and he wasn't, and the energy wasn't there to that level the next game because he was out. He still tried to, but you just can't do that.
That's so funny.
So I don't know. We're going to see what happens. We're getting closer and closer to the draft. Combine started.
Oh, I hate the draft season.
So you got draft coming, 2 weeks to the draft? No, it's probably end of June, right?
It's end of June.
End of June's the draft. So the trade season starts about middle of June. The NBA, I think, is pretty clear with the teams that they don't want trades during these times.
Okay.
How often has there ever been a trade
in May or June? It happens, it just doesn't get...
Yeah, they don't report it. Yeah, they make the trade, and we're going to report it after games. Wow, the finals are ended. Suddenly, there's 3 trades.
Yeah, the word moratorium is just laughable.
Totally. So we're going to see a lot more happen, but let's look at the playoffs.
All right, so and I did lose our second-round wager.
You did? Look, there it is right there.
Thank you, yeah.
110 to 120. It was tight. This is a very close competition, and we're both in like the 89th percentile.
Now, this is where we're at now.
This is real time. This is as of this morning, because I lost one of them. You picked 1-1 split on Miami, Boston. I thought it was going to be 2-0 Miami.
Yeah, Boston came out in game 2 and changed
the interesting thing is I still think with Miami going up 2-0, I still thought Boston would win the series.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. You picked them to still win. Oh, yeah, that's right. You thought they were going to win the East. I think Miami's defense is just too much, but we'll see.
You think the Boston doesn't win? I mean, I
think it's going 7.
You think it's going 7?
Yeah.
I could see that, too.
Now, what about the West?
So the West.
By the way, we didn't talk about, is Chris Paul's legacy cemented now?
As the choke artist?
Well, just...
I hate Chris Paul. So. It goes back to the Darren Williams days. And
I never really cared about that. I watched him in college once or twice, actually.
I saw
someone in the beans.
I saw a tweet out there that like the biggest winner of the second round of the playoffs was Darren Williams.
Was it Darren Williams?
Darren probably tweeted himself.
Oh, but
it's like all of a sudden the Chris Paul here and Darren Williams here kind of got a little closer.
Yeah. Although the Western Conference Finals tally is way in favor of Chris Paul was there a lot more than Darren was.
How many times
Darren
Chris Paul
got there
been
one. Chris Paul's been there 3 times, hasn't he? No, twice. Houston
and only 2, so it's not that far. Yeah,
Phoenix Suns.
That's really not that far off there either.
Yeah. I thought it was 3.
No,
because
the Clippers have never made it past the second round.
So is his legacy?
The Clippers have never made it past the second round. Their entire history of the franchise.
They never will.
Back to the San Diego Clippers.
Yeah, the minor league team. Is it cemented though? Is he? Or
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Let's be serious. But
is he going to win a title though? Do you think I don't think there's a remote chance anymore.
If you could trade Conley for Chris Paul, would you do it?
No, because that's the same problem. An aging, tiny person playing point guard in the NBA.
And he's making $44 million next year.
Oh my gosh.
$42 million next year.
That solves nobody's problem.
No, he makes twice as much as Conley. Was a 38-year-old point guard. Was he 38?
And he'll only play.
Let's ask Siri.
A third of.
How old is Chris Paul? 37.
37. Wow, he's old.
He's old. In NBA years, that's ancient. NBA point guard. The only point guard.
Than me.
The only NBA point guard that's made it past 37 is Stockton.
Really?
Really, and like been somewhat effective.
Okay.
Stockton in the last few years, you could argue his effectiveness in the last 2 or 3 years of his career.
Yeah.
You talk about targeting like they do in the NBA now. Could you imagine how much Stockton would have been targeted at 38?
Yeah. Wow.
And he was only like 5'11".
Okay, so honestly, I've seen him standing next to Donovan. Donovan in his basketball shoes. Donovan's an inch shorter than Stockton in street shoes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, crazy. So Donovan's like 5'11", 6 foot.
He's 6 foot.
Yeah.
Maybe close to 6'1", maybe.
But he's still a top 20 player in the NBA.
That's true. So, but I think Chris Paul, an amazing career, but I think it's over.
And I mean, because you already top 20, right? Because he was just out of the All-NBA, right? Same with Gobert, right?
Yeah.
Did Gobert get All-NBA?
No.
No. So they were both like the last picks out.
Yeah. Yep.
So they're both top 20 players. They're both 15 to 20.
So what about the Mavericks Warriors series? How much are you loving this?
I don't like blowouts. I want close games. Like, I want battles. Like, at this point, I really like both Miami and Boston. Like,
Yeah.
I like them as teams. I just love how they play. I love their offense. They're well coached, both of them. I just like them both as teams. So I kind of want the East to win this year, which is really sad for me.
I either want the Mavericks.
I hate Draymond Green so much that I can't imagine Golden State winning. I really do like the Mavs, though. Doncic bothers me just because he complains a lot, but he's a great player. I mean, he's just so good.
And to win a title in year 3?
Yeah, did you hear Reddick at the end of his podcast?
No.
They did a podcast talking about the Suns thing. They talked all the analytics and all the details on it. It's just, Reddick gets that. I'm going to swear here just because Reddick did. And he gets to the end of the podcast, and they're just like, really? Doncic is really fucking good. And that's like, they get to the whole end of the whole thing, and that's how he ends the whole thing. It's
That's
just like,
mic drop.
this is mic drop. It's like, that's really just the end of it. Is he's just really, really good. For a 24-year-old
What
guy.
else could you say,
Yeah,
really?
that's how Phoenix lost. Doncic is just good.
Yeah.
He was the best player on the floor. Same reason why the Jazz lost to him.
Yeah. Well, and the Jazz had their own things in their way, but Doncic is fantastic. And so that series, though, Jeff, I
would not be surprised to see the Mavs win tonight.
I kind of would be, but tonight.
Tonight.
Yeah, tonight.
I think they could split it right now.
But I think the Warriors are on a fast track to winning it all again, and that's pretty gross.
I would still bet on Boston.
And I would not.
Okay.
There we are.
And you were losing the NBA playoff battle. Actually, well, I guess we're tied. Not fairness, we're technically tied, man. All right, so we're tied on that.
Let's go with some drama.
A little college football drama?
College football drama.
I love this picture.
Okay, this is a well done clutch points.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, clutch points. I got to give them the shout out.
It's a great picture.
How big
Brian
of an
Rick,
idiot?
Your move, by the way.
How big of an idiot is Nick Saban?
He's pretty dumb.
Pot kettle.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's everyone at that level, except for maybe our local guys. And maybe I'm biased, but I really believe it.
I don't think
They're not hypocrites like the rest of the country is.
No, like when I went to school at USC, would have been I graduated in 2002. The entire starting five for the basketball team drove Escalades. They were in their girlfriends' names, and I mean, they all figured out ways around it.
Yeah.
But like that stuff's been going on for years. That's why they had to do something with NIL, and they haven't fixed it. Yeah. Nothing's right.
So if you missed it real quick, Nick Saban was having a banquet
with some boosters,
and he claimed that A&M bought every player on their roster.
Every player they have, A&M just bought them.
Which, by the way, A&M beat Alabama. I think there's a little cross.
Oh, I'm sure there is. And then he said that, and Jackson State paid $1 million for their top recruit. It's Deion Sanders, who's just amazing, by the way.
And Deion Sanders is now the head coach of Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
Or Jackson State. Excuse
me.
And what you told me about his response about the budget,
which is an HBCU, a historically black college too. So it's a huge thing with him getting the #1 pick, wanting to go play for Deion.
Yeah.
And wanting to go play for a historically black college. That was part of it as well.
Yeah, you're right.
And so Deion posted out I don't even make $1 million. The recruit texts out, if I made $1 million, my mom probably wouldn't be raising 5 kids in a 3-bedroom house.
Right. Which
the entire budget for Jackson football is $8 million.
It's just a dumb thing from Nick Saban to be saying.
They're not a big-time school. They're not going to be, even with the #1 recruit in the country, they're not going to be competing for a national title.
So you had Nick Saban, narcissist, say something about Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher then called a press conference to call Nick Saban a narcissist. Wrap your brain around that. someone calling a press
That might be
conference
some
to call someone else
narcissist calling a narcissist another narcissist.
And I love every bit of this.
It's so much fun.
It's delicious.
Yeah,
because
this
they're
is
just children, and they're all guilty. They've all got blood on their hands, all of them. And what I think this was honestly, I could see this being Nick Saban trying to get ahead of what's something that's about to break out of Alabama.
yeah.
Like somehow
something bad's happening out of
and
Alabama.
Nick Saban's trying to distance himself and saying, I didn't know this was going on.
It's like Elon Musk 2 days ago tweeting about how the Democrats are going to come after him a day before a story about him comes out. Interesting.
Yeah.
Trying to deflect maybe a little bit.
Oh my gosh. So I
I
can
don't
see
know.
it being something like that, or he's just dumb.
Yeah, I think he's just dumb. I think he's just him. What I think it was is I think it's him and a group of boosters that aren't putting up NIL deals like he wants them to, and trying to say, hey, I need you guys to step up if we're going to keep getting the recruits. And he was trying to badger them a little bit by saying, Texas A&M did it. That's why we lost.
So he was doing preacher in the pulpit, trying to push
to get more money for his players.
Offering
Oh,
play.
for sure.
Man.
All right, one more college thing for you before. This was a late one from yesterday. Huge Pac-12 South transfer. Did you see this?
I missed it.
USC got Jordan Addison, Blintnikoff Award winner from Pitt last year, transfers to USC.
Interesting.
#1 wide receiver in the country.
Okay.
To go with. That's good. That's going to help their offense.
And the quarterback there, Cameron or whatever? Oh, I forget his name.
Oh,
from Oklahoma.
I'm forgetting his name right now.
Yeah, but he followed Lincoln Riley.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, thank you.
So, I mean, their offense, as far as skill players,
Yeah.
is going to be best in the country.
So a couple weeks ago we
Do you
talked
know what
about...
they don't have, though? Is the big guys that you have to put in front of the skill players to protect the skill players.
The Hogs, as
That's
they're called.
what's one thing. The reason Utah's and BYU as well have always been so consistently at the top of their leagues is because they recruit those guys first.
Wow. Yeah, right.
They get the big hogs in the middle and the linebackers and the linemen, and USC they never get full lines on that.
I saw a tweet the other day, and I haven't checked it, so I don't know if it's real or not, but someone in college football said that BYU is one of 5 Division I teams returning all 5 offensive linemen this season.
Okay. That's crazy.
That's good.
That's a very good thing for
them.
them.
What you need to have happen.
Yeah.
Then you got to have the guys.
You got to have the guys behind them. Yeah, you got to block. You got to get the blocker guys, and then you got to get the guys to get around it. Like that's why the Utes are going to be really good this year. They're even talking about right now with even with all these talented guys that come in USC, they're probably not the favorites in the South still.
Who, Utah or
USC?
See, I was just about to ask you. A couple weeks ago, we talked about the Pac-12 media poll, and I still think it's going to show USC at the top.
I think with all this stuff,
now it's USC.
Yeah, you see all this.
The hype train is a choo-choo.
You got one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Although you could argue that the Utes have one of the best quarterbacks in the country too. Right? You've got one of the best. The Utes have one of the best running backs in the country.
Yeah, the Utes have a quarterback who's been through it, and I think that matters.
We're a little thin at wide receiver.
Who is?
Utah.
Well, you went to both schools, so I had to.
Yeah.
You talking USC or Utah?
USC is not thin at wide receiver. USC has probably 3 of the top 20 wide receivers in the country.
So there you go, a little college football talk here in May.
It'll be fun as we get into summer. Talk about this as we get closer to the season starting because it's going to be a fun Pac-12 South this year.
We're under 100 days away from kickoff.
It's exciting.
Counting it down.
Get your Utes and BYU tickets.
All right, coming up next, we will go from sports to wheels, talking EVs in the Subaru world, talking about gas mileage tips, and our Love Promise Partner Profile of the Week. It's a good one. Stay tuned. We'll be right back on Sports, Wheels, and Reels.
My name is Sierra Hudson. My Subaru is safety for my family. So this past winter, we hit a black ice and we just started to slide. And it was just one of those moments where you truly feel helpless. I know it's a car, but it means so much more to us and our family. Subaru is one of the safest brands, and I've personally lived that. Subaru is a brand you can trust, and Mark Miller Subaru is the local Utah retailer that you will love.
Welcome back. Wheels time here on Sports, Wheels, and Reels. And Jeff, I'm going to do something a little out of order here. Because I did it out of order in the first place. We still have some tickets to give away to see...
for Top Gun, for a big Top Gun show, early June.
Jeff will be there. He's doing an inspirational speech beforehand.
I am?
And,
I think we should do a scene.
We paid you for it.
I think we should do a scene. I think the two of us should reenact a scene.
Anyone play the Righteous Brothers. Oh, man. So on June 2nd, come on out and see the movie with us by winning those tickets. You have to know the passcode. Last week's passcode, I already forgot it. That Lovin' Feelin'.
Lovin' Feelin'.
Yeah.
Lovin' Feelin'.
Lovin' Feelin'. And again,
No G's allowed.
it's one word, even though it's a phrase. No spaces, all lowercase. I missed this week's
First one.
word.
So what's the first word? We'll do it now.
The first word was and is B.
B.
The word B.
B-E. B.
One E.
Okay.
One
All right.
E.
Let's
One
get
E.
into our first wheel story.
All right, diving in, Subaru.
Solterra.
There's the
They are
Solterra.
on U.S. soil,
What?
by the way.
Say what?
The first ship has landed in the harbor. This is
No,
like
they
the
haven't.
Revolutionary War.
Solterra in New York Harbor. All right, that's exciting.
They are here, so they'll start pushing around the country. We're probably still a month before we see one, but yeah, they are actually on the ground.
What if Josh gets his before you get yours?
Josh isn't getting one anymore.
Oh, he got out?
Yeah, he's out.
Chicken.
Had some issues at his house and electrical systems for charging stations.
I didn't plan on talking about that, but there's been a few people that have found out they couldn't charge. Or
Well, it's just a matter of what kind of electric box you have in your house. If you don't have a big enough electrical panel to handle a 220-volt outlet, you have to expand your whole panel. So if you don't have extra room in your panel, you might have to expand your panel, which costs a lot of money.
What about 221? Sorry, little Mr. Mom movie joke there. Yeah, so there's been some people that have had to back out of their Solterra orders, but there's still a long list ahead of people waiting for them.
Yes.
But it's here, it's coming.
But our news coming out of there was Subaru announcing. So this is Subaru in Japan. This is Subaru International. This is
Right.
SBR, as we call them.
SPR?
SBR. So that's
SBR.
their ticker symbol in
Oh,
Japan.
gotcha,
So that's
okay.
what they call it. Because we used to call them Fuji.
That's
Like when we used to
right.
talk about Japan, we used to call them Fuji Heavy Industries. So
Yeah.
when we talk about Japan, we call it Fuji. Now we call them SBR.
SBR.
So SBR is how you say Japan, like big Japan, big Subaru, not Subaru America. It's big Subaru.
This is mom and dad.
Yeah, this is mom and dad.
Yeah.
So mom and dad have announced. So one of our problems in the Solterra world is that we're building them in Toyota's factory. So
Okay,
right now they're built in Toyota's factory along with Toyota's version, the BZ4X. And
Someone failed hard.
you always, when you're manufacturing cars, you always want to be in full control of your own brand, especially as we move into more electrical things. So they're actually going to be expanding the Guma factory and build an in-house EV assembly plant in Guma, which is the Japanese plant for Subaru, by about 2027. So they'll start construction on that in the next year or so and build a full electric plant in Japan. So it's a multi-billion-dollar investment into electrification over the next 5 years for Subaru.
Which obviously means it's not going to just be Solterra.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
They're saying basically we're building a lot of electric vehicles. We need to convert all of our factories to be able to do that.
And what's the gentleman's name? Nakamura?
Yeah, Nakamura.
Nakamura said, I'm not going to tell you what lines we're thinking
We call
about
it
making
Tomo-san.
EV, but Tomo-san.
Tomo-san.
Nakamura.
Yeah, Tomo-san.
Have you met Tomo-san?
I have met Tomo-san. I got a picture with him.
I wish mine, Austin's such a boring name.
Talk about sports wheels and rails. We were at a Subaru meeting in Denver, and he was there in a Phillies t-shirt. He was a big Phillies fan.
That's random.
No, because the Subaru headquarters is in Camden, New Jersey, which is
Gotcha.
across from Philly.
Gotcha.
And so when he came in, he's a huge baseball fan from Japan.
Sure.
So when he moved to the U.S. for the 5 years he lived in the U.S., he became a Phillies fan.
Went to a bunch of
And he
Phillies games.
became a huge Phillies fan, and he's a huge Phillies fan.
That's great.
Literally watch every Phillies game. He watches every Phillies game.
Oh, man. Good for him, because I couldn't do it.
All
All
right, I
right.
got Bryce Harper now. They swept the Dodgers last
Good
week.
for them.
It was sad, by the way, but they did beat the Dodgers 4 games.
You're
in
a
row.
Dodgers fan.
I am a Dodgers fan.
I'm not. I'm an Angels fan. By the way,
My little league team I'm coaching is the Dodgers.
did you choose that?
Yeah, of course I chose that.
You just-
forcing Dodger love on 9 and 10-year-olds.
Oh, brother. All right. Do you want to talk gas mileage tips here? Or where should we go?
Let's go next to the UTA stuff.
Okay.
So Governor Cox came out this week on Thursday and expressed his support for reducing or eliminating transit fees. What do you think?
And we had free fare February.
And they had with huge success, 16% increase in ridership during the week and over 58% jump on Saturdays.
Oh, I didn't know that second number.
Yeah,
Wow.
Saturday
Double.
transit was
More than double.
58% increase in ridership.
Or not double. But
Not
yeah.
double.
Yeah, a half.
good.
A
Really.
half portion plus 8.
That's why we have computers to do payments and stuff, so Austin doesn't have to do math.
That's right. just ask the finance department how many times they have to redo all my
the
stuff.
computer does the numbers all by himself, so if he's working your deal, don't worry, they'll be right.
I's smart.
And maybe he even makes an error in your favor.
I's
We'll
knows
find out.
numbers.
But
Okay.
I like that he's at least saying it, so maybe something comes up in the legislature during the scariest 5 weeks of the year in Utah.
That's right. Unless there's then a special session after. But I think it should be free, man. I think that's
I
the
think
way
so.
of the
I think
future.
at least inside certain areas. I mean, they need to be free fare areas or free different. Like, I think front runner should be free. I mean, you're trying to keep people at 515. Like, there's not a better way than front runner.
Right. What if you got a tax break the more times you ride UTA up to like $3,000?
Interesting.
You could write that in as a
I
tax
think
credit.
you should call your legislator.
I don't know. No, I can't because they've told me I can't call him anymore.
All right, next story. We're going to stay away from that just to keep Austin out of trouble.
You know who you are.
You know who you are.
All right. Gas mileage tips.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to do some gas mileage tips, considering gas
grief.
prices seem to be staying expensive.
$4.51 national average right now.
Yeah, they tried to pass an anti-tax gas price gouging bill in Congress yesterday. They passed the House, probably won't pass the Senate, but I don't know how you regulate that anyway. They're just going to be like, oh, our costs increased.
Right. What do you want us to do?
Yeah, what do you want to do? It's more expensive.
We don't like it either. Yeah. Blah. Per-rum.
So it's not record profits for oil companies by any means. No, I don't think it has anything to do with it.
But I don't think, and we're just coming up on Memorial Day, which is usually when it peaks.
So let's go through some tips on how to improve your gas mileage.
Number
We're in
one
this
was
year.
keep your trunk clean.
Is that
I have
weight? Is
never
that
heard-
weight?
That's so it
It's
says.
like you like putting so people holding like bags of salt in their trunk and it's like weighing their car down.
Now what they've deemed it extra bags of stuff that you don't need there. Store them in your basement rather than in your car. This simple tip is one of the easiest ways to get better fuel mileage.
That'd be interesting. So say you have 100 pounds worth of stuff in your
Is
car.
that going to make that big of a difference?
Well, okay, so a car weighs about 3,500 pounds, so that's like 3%.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that makes a huge difference, but you never know.
I had a physics teacher in high school say if you had something hanging from your rearview mirror, it affected your gas mileage negatively by the swaying of it. I don't
Okay, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. All right.
Science.
Science. That's
Save your
not
science.
a real scientist.
Maintain good tire pressure. I think
That's absolutely true. Like the lower your tire pressure, the more it takes to rotate around. It can cause you a good 2-3 miles per gallon on your
Remember
car.
when your bike tire was a little low, how much harder you had to pedal?
Making modifications to your car.
Now this one is probably not one.
I would not recommend
any.
any of this because anything you do will void your warranty and possibly destroy your engine in your vehicle. So unless you really know what you're doing, do not modify your car to get better gas
That
mileage.
should have been like the last resort. If everything else shuts down, then go ahead and tinker with your engine.
Yeah, for sure. That one, I don't know.
Get an engine tune-up professionally done is the next tip.
Yes.
That can help you immensely.
Oh, yeah. Spark plugs. The big one, airflow, is your biggest one. Check your air filters. Even just at home, if you can get into your airflow box, just pull it out and just knock out the leaves out of it.
Okay.
Just something as simple as that. I mean, eventually, you need to get a new air filter. We generally recommend you replace them once a year. But just temporarily, just knock out the leaves out of it, and we'll save you some gas mileage if you don't want to go into the shop and wait and spend money.
It's a great tip. This one's unrealistic. Change your driving habits.
No, you want me to drive slower? That's crap.
Get out of
I
here.
disagree.
And then
I had a physics teacher, speaking of physics teacher. No, he was a chemistry teacher who drove like a old piece of crap car that got like 60 miles a gallon. One of those old like
every teacher has to.
shoebox cars. And he would drive from Ogden to Salt Lake City every day on the freeway at 55 miles an hour because that was where his maximum fuel economy was.
Oh, what a...
So he was in the right lane, literally just
Get out of here.
sitting in the slow lane, driving 55 miles an hour from Ogden, Utah every day, and didn't care about people honking at him, driving around him, doing whatever, because that was his best gas mileage. And in the state of Utah, you can do that.
But you shouldn't.
In California, you can get a ticket.
Good.
In California, you can get a ticket for holding up traffic. You can get a ticket in California for driving the speed limit.
In fact, I've seen it happen.
It's true. If everyone else around you is going 90 and you're going 65 or 70 and you're holding traffic up, they can pull you over, which is how it should be.
But if you're going to go 55, just take a surface road, man. Just
Okay.
ride State Street all the way.
What's the last one?
I think that was it. Wasn't it?
Turn off your car instead of idling.
Yeah, my favorite one.
So instead of idling when you're waiting in traffic, whatever, turn your car off. So the newer cars, well, most of the Subarus now come with start-stop.
Yeah.
So it automatically will stop your car when it idles, keeps it from the... And the neat part on the Subaru is it actually will keep track over the life of your car, how long it's actually saved you and how many gallons of gas you've saved. I think mine's sitting at... I think my Legacy when I traded in had saved 2 gallons of gas.
Wow.
From it to start-stop in a year. So it's not a lot, but it's still kind of cool. I mean,
Yeah. But so when I'm on like a test drive with people who haven't experienced start-stop before, it's kind of unsettling at first. And the thing I tell them is it will help your gas mileage some.
Yeah.
But really is going to cut down on our bad air
It's much
quality.
more about the air quality than gas mileage. The Southtown Key Machine actually has a sign on the side of it that says, make sure you tell your test drive customers about start-stop. Because we're sending people on the test drive and the car stops in the middle of the road. They're like, what's going on?
Calling in, the car's not stopping.
So I got one more on here that you need to do. Ski racks. So if you put your ski rack on the car for the winter, take it off. Ski racks are a huge thing as far as gas mileage. They will knock 3 to 5 miles per gallon off your gas mileage.
It's a big difference.
Huge difference on it because of the air issue. Or if you have flags or stupid stuff you put on the outside of your car, like even stuff as simple as when people used to put like during the Christmas time, they put like antlers on the front of their car. Stuff like that makes a huge difference on gas mileage.
My wife does that every
These
year.
cars are, every car out there now is tested in a wind tunnel to maximize airflow. So anything you put on the outside of the car to change that dynamic, so big lights on the top of the car, anything like that, you are slowing your car down and affecting the gas mileage of your car.
But if you don't know how to take your crossbars off, especially if it's a Subaru, stop in.
Yeah.
One of us will show
Stop
you.
in us, and one of our product specials will do it. A concierge will go out and take them off for you. I took mine off 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we have a lot of people out on the sales floor that need something to do.
But that's a big thing there. Make sure that you're doing that. Every mile per gallon helps.
Talking to you.
And another good tip on it too with gas mileage is we recommend especially that you don't put premium in your car.
Okay.
Unless your car specifically is asking you to put premium in your car, don't put premium in your car at this altitude. At our altitude here, you do not need to put premium in your car. If it starts knocking and start seeing issues, then go back to premium. But save the money and put regular unleaded in your car.
Great tips.
That'll save you some cash.
That's why he's in charge.
As you can see on this picture, will save you 40 cents a gallon at this gas station.
That's right. Hey, all right, we got to talk about our Love Promise partner profile this week. 2 things. Operation Heroes still needs volunteers to help them at their boot display at Memorial Day. It's up in Farmington.
Setting up, monitoring, proctoring. Aren't you proctoring?
I have volunteered to proctor on Sunday before Memorial Day. I'm very excited about that. Yeah. We're hoping to get Antoinette Stapley on the show here in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, do an interview with her about it for sure.
If you're not able to volunteer, you're still invited to stop by the exhibits in Farmington. They also have one in Riverton. Details on their website, Operation Hero. And if you are joining us for our Top Gun Maverick showing on June 2nd, please bring a bag or an item or 2 of clothing to donate to the Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yeah, there's just 2 buildings to the west of the theater is their headquarters and their drop-off location to be able to drop off clothes and things like that. That's where we drop off all of our used clothes.
And you'll be entered to win a $100 Jazz Store gift card with your donation as well.
Very awesome.
So we're doing lots of stuff on that night, June 2nd.
I like it.
All right, coming up next, we'll wrap up this week's edition of Sports Wheels and Reels with some reels. I'm adding an H in there.
That's nice.
Tell you about Chippendale next.
My name's Jamie Estry, and my Subaru is Freedom. I've had so many animals over the years. One of the things that I love about Mark Miller Subaru is they're the largest animal welfare supporter in the Salt Lake Valley. You may not even realize it, but they're probably supporting a nonprofit that you love in the community. And my wife and I, our daughter Harper, and our dogs, we're just so happy that we picked Mark Miller Subaru. Subaru is a brand that I trust, and Mark Miller Subaru is the local retailer that I love.
Final segment this week on Sports Wheels and Reels, and as our producer Ashley told me in the break,
What'd you forget again?
I forgot the second part of our passphrase. Again,
The first part was B.
The first word was B. and it's one word, I guess. One phrase, all one word, no spaces, all lowercase. Be our.
O-U-R.
Yes. Can I use it in a? Will you use it in a sentence, please? Like, I feel like we're at the script.
Our.
What's the origin, please, of the word our? Be our.
All right.
And it's not guessed. This is not a Beauty and the Beast.
This is Top Gun.
Top Gun, Maverick. I'll tell you what the last one is at the end of this.
Okay, should we start with Netflix?
Netflix, bad news.
Very bad news.
Maybe good news for the future, but anytime you see a bunch of people lose their job, it's bad news.
Yeah, stock's down 70%. That's not good.
Not good. And they laid off 150 plus people, mostly from their marketing teams.
It's just interesting with the stock down that much to only lay off 150 people. That's really low.
Well, this is where the worst news comes in. It's only the beginning. They say.
Yeah.
They say there's a lot.
Carvana was down less than that, and they laid off
right.
like 10% or 15% of their workers.
And they said that it's time, quote, for Netflix to be a real company.
Are they not a real company now?
Well, I guess they have been overpaying to get people to work there rather than at Hulu, Disney Plus, and they
need to actually stay to the market and
they're going to start
not just
charging
buy everybody
ads. So
well, the big issue was that
you're going to have ads on.
They announced the decline. So at the end of Q1, there was the first time ever I think they'd had a decline in subscribers,
and it was like 200,000 subscribers that they lost.
That canceled.
All right, so bad news for Netflix. I still
pay for Netflix. I'm not going anywhere. I love Netflix.
I don't have TV anymore, so I'm a Netflix Disney Pluser all the way through and through. All right, movies this week. Now, can we play the trailer?
Yeah, let's play the trailer.
All right, so
let's go.
With express written permission from nobody, here's the trailer for Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
What's the first thing that pops into your head when I say Chippendale? I bet it's these guys! But certainly the second would be those rascally cartoon chipmunks, Chippendale. What if I did something like,
I am into nuts!
Good, I love it.
Great stuff!
Woo! Just want to remind you guys I'll be at FanCon this afternoon. Hey, watch out! I'm keeping myself fit and, my updated modern look.
Don't you think you'd have more fans here if Chip did these events with you?
I hadn't thought about him in a while. I should give him a call. See how life's treating him.
Life is the worst, which is why you need good insurance. A message on my landline. I don't like that.
I know you're still mad about Rescue Rangers getting canceled, but I've just got a call from the police, and I need your help.
That my best friend, she a real bad, got her own money.
I searched the perimeter. No clues.
Why would there be? 6 missing tunes in a month and not one clue.
Oh, no!
She been down since the
Chip!
Dale, you look different.
It's no secret I had the CGI surgery. What's been up with you?
You know, this, that, other vague things to fill the space of this conversation.
Cool.
We can see what we can find out and then pass it along to the officer. But that's all we're gonna do.
So you're saying the Rescue Rangers are back? Yes!
You two come poking around where you don't belong, and I can't have that.
Run! I got him!
What are you looking at?
Honestly, your weird dead eyes.
Over here!
Go get him!
This is awesome!
I was always more of an Alvin and the Chipmunks person.
You monster.
That my best friend, she a real bad, got her own money.
It was like professional. Same time. Jinx! You owe me a non-brand specific cola. What? That was crazy! Somebody call Guinness Book! This is incredible! Oh, we lost it.
Best friend, best friend, best friend, best friend.
My childhood is complete.
It's so exciting.
Were you a Chippendale guy?
Oh, yeah.
A Chippendale Rescue Rangers guy?
Not
You saw it in the trailer.
I never did Chippendales myself.
You, Patrick Swayze, and Chris Farley.
Damn.
Maniac. All right. I thought the idea of this was stupid when I heard about it. Seeing the trailer, though.
I like it, though. I like the animation mixed with the new age. It's just cool.
I love John Mulaney, and I love Andy
Samberg.
It's going to be fun. And
I think it's going to be amazing.
Tonight on Disney Plus.
I know. We're going to go and watch for the kids tonight.
That's your family suggestion.
Yeah, that is absolutely the family one.
You can also check it out in the theater, too, if you'd like to, but Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. It's going to be amazing.
And then my recommendation for the week, Jeff.
And I haven't seen this.
And neither had Ashley. Mike, have you seen? Oh, my gosh, I'm the only person that's
How
seen
do you hide when you're running from yourself, Austin?
So, look. Uma Thurman, Ethan Hawke, Jude Law.
Jude Law's in this, too?
Jude Law. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Look at that.
So Jude Law plays, this is a not so far in the future world where everyone is genetically created.
Okay.
Ethan Hawke plays a guy who wants to be an astronaut, but because he is made of love and not genetics, he has a heart condition and doesn't qualify to be an astronaut. Jude Law is in a wheelchair and can't be an astronaut, so Ethan Hawke and Jude Law cook up this scheme for Ethan Hawke's character to take Jude Law's identity and become an astronaut. It was one of the best sci-fis of the 1990s.
I might have to go back and watch this. How old is this movie?
1999, I think.
All right.
So barely in the 90s. But
all right, I'll have to go check this one out.
Yep, Gattaca.
You rarely lead me astray.
Oh, that's nice of you. Well, in this category.
In this regard, yeah.
Everything else.
In this regard. Sports takes, things like that. Absolutely, yeah. It's generally wrong in most arguments.
The final part of our passphrase.
Hey, you didn't forget.
For tickets to Top Gun Maverick. It only took me 4 segments in 3 weeks to get this right. Well, I guess that'd be 12 segments.
Yeah.
So it was Be Our Wingman.
Be Our Wingman. All one word. I'm not going to spell that for you. You guys can figure it out.
Can't spell wingman. He got B and R.
W-N-O-I.
W-E-E-N-K.
Wingman? Okay.
Wingman. All right, Be Our Wingman. Come join us. June 2nd, Top Gun Maverick.
Good show.
Good show. Better show next week, maybe. We'll see.
More jazz news?
More jazz.
Who knows? More jazz rumors.
Yeah, the moratorium is going to be around the corner. So. He's Jeff Miller. I'm Austin Horton for Ashley Bells and Mike Aguilar behind the scenes. That's it for this week. Utah by 5.
Trust me.